So here we go again this morning, another terror attack in London, a car again plowing into pedestrians and bicyclists, again right outside Britain's House of Parliament. Do we know anything at this point?
No, the British authorities are being very tight-lipped. They have not released the name of the suspect. They have only said that they do believe it's a terror attack. And then they turned around and said, we don't understand, we don't know the motive. And so apparently they're trying to make sure that you don't think that it's an Islamic Jihad terror attack, that you leave open the possibility that it's a right-wing extremist or someone of that kind. But the fact is that ISIS, the Islamic State, has many times issued calls for individual Muslims in Western countries, and specifically Britain, to mount vehicular jihad attacks, to get in a car and mow people down. We've seen this happen in Berlin, in Nice, in France, many times in Israel, and elsewhere in Europe as well. And so the idea that this is not connected to that, I think that's very unlikely.
Well, and Robert, isn't this a common reaction by law enforcement and the authorities in Europe? They generally know what's behind this. This is a terror attack. It's a Muslim. It's a jihadist. But they seem so loath, don't they, to go public with that?
Oh, yeah, Joe, this is a big problem, that they seem to think that their first job is to make sure that nobody thinks ill of Islam. And so they set up a narrative like the Canadian authorities did with that shooting in Toronto a few weeks ago. And the guy's reading ISIS websites, and ISIS claims the attack, and they go to a Muslim advocacy group spokesman that has a group that, by the way, also has ties to Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, and get him to write a statement for the family saying, this has nothing to do with terrorism, the guy is mentally ill. Meanwhile, police are saying they've never seen anybody handle a weapon so skillfully. How did a mentally ill person learn this? And the point is, the authorities increasingly are crafting a narrative to cover for their failed policies instead of telling the public the truth. And I think that this case in Britain is probably another case in point. At least they have actually said that it was terrorism instead of coming out right away and saying the guy was mentally ill, the way they have been in so many cases over the last few years.
Hey, Robert, quick question for a quick answer. It seems like London is an especially vulnerable target, aren't they?
Yeah. They are. There's so many landmarks that are culturally and historically important to the UK, but also to the United States and the whole of the Western world. Those symbolic targets are very important to the jihad groups to destroy, to show the superiority of Islam and Islamic law.